Good evening, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Again.
Good evening, everyone.
It's now 6:59. I ask everyone to turn their phones on silent or vibrate this time. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Again, right?
Good evening.
It's now 7 p.m. I want to welcome everyone, guests, visitors, business owners to the Eastpointe City Council regular meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Today is August 3rd, 2021, and today is Tuesday. And we always start our council meetings with an invocation and then followed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Our invocation has been done majority of the time by our Mayor Pro Tem, and she does an awesome job. She's going to start it tonight. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dear God, thank you for the many gifts you have given us. Please guide us as we utilize our talents and treasures for the betterment of all. We ask that you bless this council and all the residents joining tonight as we work together to make decisions that benefit all of our Eastpointe residents. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone that took part in the invocation as well as the Pledge of Allegiance. And we are going into our roll call. Ms. Walton, good evening again.
Good evening. Councilmember Curley,
Here, Eastpointe.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Here, Eastpointe.
Councilmember Lucido,
Here, Eastpointe.
Councilmember Moore,
Here in Eastpointe.
Mayor Owens.
Here in Eastpointe. Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, motion. Oh,
Sorry.
support.
Motion and support to approve the agenda. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Now we got the hearing of the public in a special meeting that we just got out of. You only get one hearing of the public. In a regular meeting, you get two, one at the beginning and one at the end. Each one gets 3 minutes. So we welcome everyone, residents, guests, and visitors to take part in hearing what you have to say, your opinions and ideas. We ask for it to be respectful according to the issues of the city and not the person, because this is, we work together, it's a family town, so that is what we want to display. Ms. Walton, can you please open the first hearing of the public, please?
Yes, Mayor. 1 second. All right, I'm not seeing any hands raised at this time. Not seeing anything in the chat. Mayor, there are no hands raised and there's still nothing in the chat.
Okay, well, now the first hearing of the public is now closed. You get a second time to speak at the next one.
Mayor, Linda
Follow
Flan-
along to the end. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Linda Flans just raised her hand as you had mentioned that. I don't know if you want to allow her to speak or wait until the end.
Ms. Flans is always a participant. So Ms. Flans, you may be able to speak, please. Good evening.
Good evening. I just was having a question on the those refuge islands on 9 Mile. There's 2 barrels that have been sitting there for quite a long time. And I wanted to see if there was any plan or if there could be anything done, even if just putting like a large pot of flowers over it and get rid of the barrels, if that was an idea. So I just wanted to throw that out and maybe you guys can discuss it or pass it on to somebody that can do something about that. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Flance.
Thank you.
We have our director, DPW on here, and also we have our Councilman DeMonico, who is the liaison of the beautification. So those, some of those questions you just, or things or ideas you just said is being noted. And for us, if you want to send it as a reminder, we welcome that to an email so that we can follow up on that. Thank you so much. We're
you.
gonna move right along to the approval of minutes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I would move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting for July 20th, 2021.
Support.
motion and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
yes,
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
and Councilmember Lucido.
Yes.
Next is no, we don't have any scheduled. We don't have any scheduled hearings or unfinished business. We're gonna go straight to reports from administration, starting with our city manager, Ms. Doom. Is Ms. Doom here today?
I am.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to share a few things with our folks today. Council at one of our earlier meetings had asked us to look into what it would take to have new equipment, to have Zoom meetings, in-person meetings, meetings put on cable, just any way we can to reach people. And so we're getting to that point. We'll bring some suggestions to you and some options in September in our meeting. But thanks to Ms. Homan, who alerted me to a new grant that may cover part or all of the cost. So we are going to be exploring that because new equipment is quite expensive. So Ms. Homan will be writing a grant to hopefully cover as much as we can of our proposal for you. And that also leads me to, well, we all read the papers, so we know that the Delta variant of COVID is definitely expanding throughout our state and through other states. So it's really imperative that we be able to reach our community any way that we can through every possible option that we can. Just a quick update, as of Friday, we had 3,072 of our residents who tested positive for COVID, and we lost 75 of our residents who passed away from COVID or COVID complications. So we're not out of the woods yet. I know we hear it all the time, and sometimes we get a little weary about it, but we are really on top of it and doing our absolute best for our community. I did have a question. It began with Mr. Curley, but I'm sure our residents would like to know when the next time Lexington may be patched, repaired, or replaced. And according to our Public Works Director, it is slated tentatively for 2024/25. So it's not quite as quickly as some of the neighbors would like it to be, but it is definitely on the list for, for needing repair. So let's see, what else do I have? We swore in a new police officer on Monday. His name is Stefan, oh boy, Karpuk. I'm hoping I'm saying that properly. He and his lovely wife were in attendance, and with each new officer that comes on board, we have a family member pin their badge onto their shirt. And we've had some kind of oopses through the past of people stabbing their sons and husbands. And but I will say that our newest officer, his wife is a pro. She did it 3 seconds flat. So I think she just won the new world record on getting a badge pinned into his shirt properly. She doesn't know what a exceptional time frame that was, because we see this on a regular basis. So as Mr. Rohig will explain, if he's still on with us, definitely building up his department with a lot of very, very qualified people. And let's see, we're working with the court system. We posted on their behalf for a magistrate. That job posting closed on July 30th. And they have a number of excellent candidates that they're going to begin interviewing. So our court system will be able to be up and fully functional. It was definitely limping along during the COVID times. There's a lot of frustration for our residents and also our attorneys and the judge. So we have Miss Mariah and Mike McLeod to thank for really helping that department get ahead. They've temporarily taken on HR duties to be of assistance. So that's an little extra pat on the back for them because they're taking on additional work to help what we consider our sister department in the police department. She's a joint. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Any questions for our city manager? Seeing none, going to our finance director, Mr. Blum. Good evening again.
Mayor and Council. The only thing I have tonight is just an update. The American Rescue Plan funding that is going through Lansing, they still have not approved anything, and they still have not sent any funds our way. So they're not complying with the federal guidelines, but that's Lansing for you. We do need to consider having some discussions. Council is going to need to decide how to spend that money. So we might as well start talking about it, even if it hasn't shown up yet. I don't know. I mean, that's among the 5 of you, if you want a special meeting or just make it part of a regular meeting, but that should happen sooner than later. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for our finance director?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I think maybe more of a question for council, according to what Mr. Blum said. Maybe we do set a special, maybe public hearing at a meeting about those funds, or at least an agenda item on a future agenda.
Yeah, we're gonna put an agenda item on there. And then it's a good idea. And Mr. Blum, they will probably have a list on what we can't spend it on, because I think everybody has a Christmas list on how we want to spend that money. And I think a lot of residents saying water bills, so I don't know if we can do that. So let us know what we can and can't spend it on, so we can have a general idea before we start getting excited. Okay, moving right along to our city attorney, Mr. Albright. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. Just a couple of items for everyone this evening. Yesterday, our office did receive a letter from Governor Whitmer. She has approved the proposed charter amendment language regarding primary elections. A copy of that letter, which I did receive yesterday, dated July 27th, has been forwarded to all the council members and city administration. And that ballot language will appear on in the November election. The council's also in receipt of our monthly status report. The one thing I did want to point out in the status report is under the ongoing Department of Justice case. I did receive a letter from the Department of Justice requesting copies of voting records from the November 2019 general election and also the November 2020 special election. City administration, in particular, Kimmy Rich, was able to get all of those records together in a very, very quick fashion. And we are now in the process of getting those documents into electronic format, and those will go out by the end of the week to the Department of Justice. So that's all I had.
I'm sorry, sir. Why did they want to see that referring to the ranked choice voting?
They didn't give a reason for why they wanted it. They just sent a letter requesting the information. And because the city is still subject to a consent decree, we needed to comply with that request.
Okay.
And so we have timely complied. And again, the records will go out by the end of the week. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Questions for our attorney? Seeing none, moving right along to item A, discussion on GFL. And this was brought up by our Councilman DeMonico. Mr. DeMonico, you have the floor.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I had put this on the agenda and asked GFL to come to the meeting, and I see Mr. Beretta is here in the meeting. I just wanted to bring this up because we've just had some concerns throughout the city. And I guess basically at this point, if anyone else has any other concerns, please bring them up. But I think my biggest one, and just comes down to this basically, is that yard waste and recycling is being thrown into the garbage trucks. And so I just wanted to discuss that with GFL and see where we go. So I guess if Mr. Beretta like to address that, I think we could start there unless anyone else had anything before we get started.
I'm sorry. Well, let me greet our guests. Good evening, Mr. Beretta. Thank you for
Good
coming.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members and elected officials. Tom Beretta with GFL Environmental. Glad to be here tonight and answer any questions.
Okay, I think Mr. Councilman DeMonico wanted you to go ahead, and you had a question already for him, Councilman, correct?
Sure. So yeah, many residents throughout the city have been witnessing their yard waste or recycling being thrown into garbage trucks. You know, that does not seem, you know, correct to me, of course. I'd like to, you know, see that fixed.
I understand your concern. It does come up from time to time. I mean, we try to be very vigilant in making sure we separate everything accordingly. It does happen sometimes. We do apologize for it. What I was going to try to do tonight is I had dropped off some packages yesterday that just had a little bit of information in it that I'd like to share with everybody. And I start by, you know, one of the things we do for all our communities, we are required to do tonnage reports. So we're very vigilant at that. And that's based on where we dump, when we dump, and the dump tickets are generated, and that drives our productivity and our tonnage reports, which in the packet that I gave yesterday, there was, I think we had from 2017 to June of 2021. So that's one of the things that we do for all the communities. They're available. I can start sending them to you monthly. That's why I went back and printed off the ones from the last few years. So that was one of the things we do. Keep an eye on that. If there's any big fluctuations, you know, there is probably about a 5 to 8% swing on any one of the three products that we pick up. The trash is probably the most accurate. The other ones, you know, everybody knows the trash is put out every week. That's not the case with recycling and yard waste. So every once in a while, if a truck breaks down, it may come in here and is dumped the very next day and doesn't get to the right city. But we try and be very vigilant on capturing everything where it needs to go. We try to keep an eye on our guys. There's a supervisor, Chad Redmonds, in the city of Eastpointe every day. It's his responsibility to keep track of the guys. I mean, you can't watch everybody every minute. But one of the things we do, and what I had given you, I just gave you a glimpse at our GPS systems, and it can track a truck in the city every day and see if he's on his route. You know, it can get down into even see the number of stops he has and if he's speeding. So that helps us keep track of it. If the supervisor gets tied up with an injury or an accident, I wanted to show you that. And I did, one of the biggest problems we have, and it's occurred, you know, it's become predominant over the past 18 months, which with the amount of people that are at home now, I tried to give you some snapshots of issues that we deal with every day, not only in Eastpointe, but all the communities that we service. And it's where people contaminate, whether it's the recycling or the yard waste. And the few that I think I had 4 or 5 in there for, you could look at yard waste that are in containers and not marked accordingly or contaminated. So it's something that we deal with all the time. And I know Chad has talked with Darren a lot. And sometimes if the trash truck or recycling truck comes through and is contaminated, well, another truck comes back by and picks it up. So, you know, to us, we can do one of two things. I think Darren would rather have us leave it and just tag it, which we can. And if you would like those addresses, we'll be glad to do that. But that's one of the things that we deal with in the city every day. And it's not unique to Eastpointe, it's to everybody. We had a big problem on one of your neighboring communities, city of Roseville, and they got their code enforcement involved. And now they have code enforcement up when we're in the city every day, and they don't allow us pick up anything that's contaminated or anything that is above and beyond what we're supposed to take. So, and that's what they chose to do, which is fine. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the last thing I put in there was GFL is the only solid waste and environmental company in the area that has a site to take care of everything that it picks up. We have recently acquired a landfill called Arbor Hills. It's in Northville. And that has a life expectancy of at least 20 years. But the big things is GFL is Green for Life and upper management. And we have 3 recycling centers. We have a recycling company called Royal Oak Recycling. It's down in the city of Royal Oak. But we have a fully operational MRF. It's over in New Boston off of South Huron Road. We have another one that we're building in the city of Pontiac. And we have 2 transfer stations that we transfer recyclables. Once it's collected from the street, we dump it at a transfer station. It's reloaded and taken out to our recycling center out in New Boston. We have about 7 or 8 additional processing centers throughout the state of Michigan, all the way up into Traverse City and Sault Ste. Marie. And we've had our own compost site for the past 2 years. That is located out there off the 69 and M24 on Nowork Road. It's called Nowork Landscape and Supply. We process our own compost and we sell it. And Scott's is one of our biggest. They purchase a lot of what our finished compost turns out to be. So, I mean, we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot and spending all that money on those types of facilities for us just to go ahead and mix stuff up when we can take it, sort it, separate it, package it, and send it out for end markets. And the other thing we did is I wanted to show you these. One of the things, some of our trucks are different, but a lot of them look the same. So there are occasions when we'll come in and we'll pick up a load of trash. We take it to either the transfer station that we operate over on Flanders and in Groesbeck, or we do occasionally go to Pine Tree Acres too. But when they come back, they're supposed to have signs like this. They're on each side of the truck. If they're going from trash to compost, they're supposed to have these on each side of the trucks. They're magnetic and they can put them on and take them off depending on what they're picking up. And we have the same thing for recycling. So if you see a rear load truck or a resi front that's picking up trash and he's back by later on, these 2 magnetic signs should be one on each side of that truck, alerting residents we're picking up either compost now or recycling now. So we try to be very diligent in making sure that we pick this up the right way. And I do apologize. I know it does happen. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, it doesn't. Mixing trash, you can be written up for doing something like that. And if you repeatedly do it, it could lead up to termination, which we don't want to do with anybody. We'd rather, be proactive and make sure it doesn't happen. And we will do everything moving forward to make sure that everything is taken care of properly in the city of Eastpointe. We value the relationship we've had for the past several years, and we want to make sure that going forward that we do the right thing and everybody is comfortable in how we do it.
Mr. Beretta?
Yeah.
On the last point so I think there's 2 things, right? Yeah, we're seeing yard waste and recycling that should be going in the yard waste and recycling trucks, not, and they're going in garbage trucks. But then also the pictures, I'm certainly, not arguing any of those pictures you sent that there's residents that are doing the wrong thing. I'd like to solve both issues.
Okay.
And the first one, why would an employee put yard waste in a garbage truck? Isn't that only more work for that employee? A whole nother truck's going to come by to pick up the yard waste. I just don't even understand why an employee would do that.
They shouldn't do it because we have all 3 trucks in the city every day. I mean, it defeats the purpose of what we're doing. The other thing that we have an issue with is, especially if we go to a landfill, if there's compost in it, we have to remove the load. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It shouldn't happen. And we will make every effort moving forward to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. And we can't be behind everybody every minute of the day. That's why we do some of the things we do to try to catch that and coach them on to, hey, this isn't what we're about. This isn't what we have to do.
I mean,
So I
Mr. Brett, I've witnessed it at my own house, even my own yard waste. It was a bag. The gentleman didn't even look in the bag and then threw it in that front loading truck. And then it picked up the garbage can and emptied it into there. So how, even if I did, I mean, right, grass clippings and weeds and such are fine, right, for yard waste.
Yes.
And that's all I had in there. And he didn't look in the bag anyway. I don't even understand why that's going on. I feel like, why would an employee, risk their job on, doing extra work? Like, I'm just hoping we can fix this. Same thing with the recycling. I think I've heard less about that and more about the yard waste.
No, it shouldn't happen. I know where you live. We're going to be keeping an eye on that area, and we've moved the drivers around a little bit. Anybody gets caught now mixing yard waste with trash or recycling with trash, they're going to be reprimanded. We can't have that. That GFL is exactly what it is, Green for Life. And I apologize. It shouldn't happen.
It's across the city, though, not just my house. I mean, I could give you, I know 12 people personally that have.
Well, if it's happened at your house, I'm sure it's happened at other on other streets too. We're policing it right now. Ever since you sent the other email, we realized that there's a problem, and we're watching it right now.
Councilman Monaco.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Oh, first of all, thank you, Mr. Beretta, for coming out tonight to our meeting and
welcome.
giving us this pamphlet with the information in it, with the numbers and the amount of tons of trash that we're actually going through every month. Yes, I've had the same issue in my neighborhood, not just my house, but along with all of my neighbors' houses. I've watched the truck pick up garbage and yard waste at every house on my block in the same truck. So, and maybe one of them was contaminated, but I don't think that every house on my block was contaminated. Now my block is pretty short. I only have 6 houses. So I guess it would be a possibility, but I'm usually pretty careful myself to make sure that my yard waste is not contaminated. But looking at the numbers, if you look at the yard waste numbers for March, April, May, and June of 2021 and compare it to 2020, the amount of yard waste that we were dumping, it's almost about 40% less in 2021 that we are dumping. And the garbage intake is about that much more. Like it balances out. So your numbers here, in my opinion, show that obviously the yard waste is being thrown in the trash.
Well, if you look at all the years, the trash is pretty consistent. 20 was a little bit more because of the number of people that were at home was a little bit more, and the yard waste the same thing. I mean, last year the yard waste was a lot more than this year. So especially with all the rain and that. So we realize Quint Ramanauskas is our general manager. I brought it to his attention. Our supervisor reports to an operations manager. He's well aware of it. We understand it needs to be fixed. It can't continue.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah, no, and I understand, because even if you look, further years back, it's the same situation. There's definitely been a huge decrease of yard waste in 2021 compared to previous years. And it lines up with exactly what I've witnessed in my neighborhood, and that is the yard waste going into the trash.
Well, you only have 6 months in 21. If you were to extrapolate it out, you'd be, probably a little bit less than what you have in 2020.
Councilman Curley.
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
A couple of statements. Of course, you're well aware that there's a state law that says you can't mix the trash and the yard waste in the landfill. So we all know
aware
that.
of that. Yes.
Yes, I'm sure you are. I had the same experience that they picked up the trash can and dumped it, and then I had 3 cans of grass, and he picked up all 3 of them and put them into the truck. This is not just happening in Eastpointe. I have a letter that was sent from a resident from Bloomfield Township said that he was watching a truck and he was out on the porch. Truck came by and dumped the trash into the truck and then began to grab the can of yard waste. And the driver told him that his quote, "My supervisor told me to do this." So you have a problem not only in Eastpointe, but also in other communities. And I don't know how you're going to solve it, but it's pretty disturbing. The other thing I might mention that you had said at the beginning that you talked to Darren about those pictures of some citizens doing certainly what they shouldn't be. So whatever Darren is suggesting, I think probably you ought to follow that. And hopefully we can clean up our own mess too. But we're all concerned about that, sir, that they arbitrarily, I mean, there was no doubt what the driver was doing in front of our house. And
Sure.
I'm sure the same thing for Sarah and Cardi. So apologies accepted, but the problem's got to be solved. And if you have a supervisor on the truck driver's not going to do it. But he's not saving any time by taking somebody else's job away that's supposed to pick up the yard waste in a separate truck. I heard at one time that someone said, well, the truck that we use is broken down. Well, you explained that at the beginning, that they go and empty a truckload of trash and they come back with that sign on the truck, that would be fine. But I cannot think in my mind of any excuse that they would have to take the grass and mix it up with the trash, unless the rumor goes that you can make methane out of grass in the landfill. I don't know if that's true or not, but as much grass they're mixing with the yard waste and the trash, you're probably got a lot of methane coming out of that landfill.
Well, like I said, if we dump yard waste in at a landfill, including our own Arbor Hills, they'll push it off to the side. We have to come and get it. It serves no purpose when we go to a landfill, that's for sure. And everybody is aware. I'll address the letter from Bloomfield Township. That did come in just a few days ago. But other than that, I have not had any issues with Bloomfield or West Bloomfield on us mixing stuff. So, I mean, does it happen everywhere? Yes, it does.
Thanks,
Councilman
Mayor.
DeMonico.
If we could go back to what Mayor Pro Tem was saying about the months. Like if you look at May in your report, Mr. Beretta, going back to 2017 for yard waste in May, you've got 443 tons, then 411 in 2018, then 445, then 449, well over 400. And then 2021, 228. And then at kind of the same thing in June. June, it's like 353, 337, 388, 442, and then 291 in 2021, and then I think what Mayor Pro Tem Lucido was saying is that difference from 2020 in yard waste is like it's 151 tons less of yard waste and 141 tons more of trash. I mean, it sounds like exactly what we are explaining right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I look at the tonnage reports every month. I understand.
Okay.
I guess what they're saying, Mr. Beretta, not to interrupt you, Councilman, were you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess what council, what we're saying is if you see the reports and you make the reports, why are we reporting this to you and nothing is being done?
Well, everybody here knows about it. The general manager is involved, so is the operations manager. When it was brought to my attention, I'm not going to hide anything. I mean, I'm giving you what actually happened. So,
okay.
The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, there are some months that there are some fluctuations depending on what year it was and how the weather was. But no, I mean, if I was to look at this and sitting in your seat, I would say the same thing you're saying. Okay.
Sitting in my seat as a mayor and also sitting in the seat of council and residents, and we sign a contract for you to do a job Seeing MIC, what would you say to you if you wasn't doing your job?
Oh, I mean, we should be doing it. We should be paid for what we do, and we should follow the guidelines that were issued in the RFP and the contract.
Right. So if
And
you're not doing your job, what do we get back in regards to that?
what do you get back?
Yeah, we pay you money, not doing your job.
Well, that is above my pay grade, Mayor, and I will be glad to take that to the general manager.
Yeah, let him know. Well, we can use some community service. It'd be nice if GFL came and helped us clean our city and picked up some trash. That would help.
Well, we would be glad to participate in community events that you have. All you need to have is have either Darren or
Okay.
somebody from the city just send me what you're doing. I mean, we do it in other cities, so we would be glad to do it for you as well.
Okay,
That's
we would
not-
like to do it. I think the director would agree, and all the council and residents, we wouldn't mind GFL coming out once a month and helping us clean the city.
And what would you say that would entail?
I guess certain sections. I think we could put something together.
Yeah,
What do you think? If you were in my seat?
We would be glad to assist in providing, roll-off containers for, community cleanups, or, if you have a block event or anything like that.
Okay.
Clean up a school, clean up a church, whatever. We would be glad to help in that respect. Or if you have music in the park, I know a few years ago, you used to have music out behind City Hall. So yeah,
Okay.
we would be glad to participate. Sure.
Okay, I think, Ms. Doom, can you put something together for GFL to do a cleanup once a month for us?
We'll certainly look into it and talk with Darren tomorrow
Yeah,
about
can
it.
you guys look into it? Is that something that you agreeing to, Mr. Beretta?
Yes.
Okay. As a community service, right? Not an addition, right?
That is
I know
correct.
Mr. DeMonico loves putting them together.
Mhm.
He'll help you with that.
That's fine. I understand.
Yeah, I love a good litter cleanup.
We agree.
We're talking about once a month.
Right,
You
I
do it
haven't
once a
done,
year
I haven't
here,
done
then you
that
can do
many.
it more.
Yeah. No, I think Mayor, though, you touched on one thing. I think like Mr. Brett, I guess at this point, like going forward, if I think what was just talked about, if this does continue, I'd like to see someone else, I guess, above your pay grade, as you put it, address this, because I mean, frankly, this was brought up at the beginning of June, and I've seen it happen again since then. So, I mean, I hope going forward, this doesn't continue to happen. But then I guess, like, if we could address the other issue where residents aren't putting the right things in, what do you leave anything behind? Like, leave a note on the garbage can? Like, what do we do, or what can we do to
Well,
help with that?
I mean, I guess one of two things. We either come back, and if it's contaminated, just clean it up, or we end up putting oops stickers on, telling the resident that we can't take it, and this is the reason. So if Darren, if that's the avenue you'd like to take, I mean, we'll be glad to leave it and sticker it. It's sometimes the way I look at it, it's not fair to your neighbors, because they have to look at it if it's not picked up. So, but whichever way the city would like to go, I mean, we'd be glad to accommodate. We can pick it up, or we can leave it there and tag it. I can tell you, I can tell you what Roseville does, and I mean, they're a different community, but they have their code enforcement out there, and I think they give them the resident 24 hours. If it's not corrected, then the city comes in and picks it up and puts the cost of their employees cleaning it, whatever it is, up on their tax roll. So that's something that they do. So, but I'll work with the DPS department on whatever you want to do.
Can you give a specific example? Are you saying, like, if I'm looking at maybe like your first picture, someone clearly put some, like, branches in their garbage can, you wouldn't just then dump that in the garbage truck, you're saying?
We can, but then somebody could call and say you're mixing yard waste.
Right, but if I mean, say, I don't know if there's, if it's touching all the garbage and everything, right? You probably, I don't know.
No,
But
I mean,
it depends on the situation, I guess you're
I,
saying.
I mean, a lot of times we'll go whatever's out, we'll just pick it up.
Mhm.
Same with the recycling. I mean, the contaminations there, I mean, we'll sticker it, then we get the call that it wasn't picked up, and the contamination in the recycling, when it goes through the separation process, that all gets thrown out anyways and ends up going to a landfill. So, I mean, we can tag it, we can pick it up.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, yes, sir, Director, DPW.
Yes.
Good
Thank you,
evening.
Don. Thank you for talking. Our biggest problem right now is obviously the compost going in the trash truck, which we've been discussing. But the real big problem is the trash getting thrown into the recycle bins. And time again, GFL takes it. What I would like to start doing is not have GFL take it. They will tag it, then inform us, and then we'll tag it. But like Don said, then it's going to stay at the curb for a couple of days until the city goes and picks it up, and then we push that cost to the homeowner. But that's a good place to start with the recycling, because
Yeah.
too many people are using in that recycle bin as a trash bin.
Can I make one quick comment, Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
If we were to go about doing something like that, I think that's a good idea. But first, I think we should make sure we put something in the water bill. So let all the residents know that if you used your red can for garbage, like it will not be picked up. Like let them know in advance. So there's no, make sure we post it on all of our, outlets and things like that to make sure everyone knows, plain and simple, like we're not going to do it anymore. And I think that it will be an issue maybe at the beginning, but I think people are going to get, they'll hear about it and then they're just going to stop doing it. So I think it might be a nuisance for the neighbors for, a couple of months. But I think once word starts getting around that this is happening and they're picking a bill.
Great.
It's a great idea. I want to ask Ms. Beretta a question real quick because I sit on well, you could say the trash board a little bit. And now we, in Eastpointe, we share it with, what's that, Fraser, Roseville, St. Clair Shores. And we have our own area where we dump our trash and we charge other municipalities as well. Now, you said your location is a little bit further than Macomb County. Is there any way that we can like partner up and, some of that cost can be decreased if you dump it where we own it, a dumpster at? We own that area facility? Because you have to drive further to, dump the trash, right?
You're talking about the SMDA?
Yeah.
I mean, we pay for the disposal on the trash. So I know what the
Okay.
price is at the SMDA, and the problem they have, and it's happened to the Grosse Pointes more than a couple of times, is if something happens there, they turn you away. And then it's a bigger problem than if we didn't even go there at all. Because we dump the Grosse Pointes now at the SMDA instead of the old Clinton and Grosse Pointe Incinerator Authority and transfer station that was downtown next to the Detroit incinerator. I mean, it wouldn't save us any money. I mean, what saves you money is we do all of the roll-off works out of your DPW at no charge. So anything that you bring in there that we pull out of there, we never have charged you folks or anything like that.
Okay. Now, because I know you have to pay to dump it in your area. Well, you own it, so it's probably no charge to you. But I'm just saying, since you don't have to drive it so far and travel, would it be cheaper for us as residents, since we own our own facility, to dump it where we own the SMDA at?
Well, I mean, we run the Warren transfer station, which is right there. It's on.
Okay.
Yeah, so we dump a lot of it there and just transfer it out. I mean, if you wanted to look at the SMDA, then we would have to take a look at what their pricing is and take a look at it and see if it made sense.
Okay, well, that's something that we can talk about. I mean, our next meeting is next Wednesday. Well, I can send you, I'll email you our pricing. And, well, you can email us what you pay and we can compare prices. Because I mean, if we can save some money for our residents on dumping trash and we have our own area, I mean, it would make sense, correct, or no, to you?
I think you guys pay $32 or $35 a ton at the SMDA if you dump there.
Okay, I have to check the prices.
I'm pretty sure that's what they charge the Gross Points.
Okay, but since we own it, it's still gonna be a win for us anyway, because it comes back to the city.
Well, we don't dump anything from Eastpointe there. I mean, that the city went away from years ago when Eastpointe, Roseville, and St. Clair Shores all went into, all looked at it together. It was beneficial to them not to dump at the SMDA because of the price. And I can tell you right now that I can dump at our transfer station and transport it to our landfill cheaper than what the SMDA charges.
Really? Okay.
No, I mean, I
Because
don't
Warren
think
dumps there too.
Warren dumps, like we run their transfer station, we manage their transfer station. They dump there, but they can dump at the SMDA too, because I think one of the folks at the Warren transfer station runs that site for the SMDA or manages that anyways.
Okay.
I think that's Mr. Gammon.
Yeah, that's him. Okay. Thank you. So, council, any more questions? Mr. Beretta?
Can I jump in here?
Yes, sir, Mr. Blunt.
Okay, Don, I have a question. There was a major rain event at the end of June. Have you seen an increase in trash from flooded basements? And if so, can we anticipate an excess bill like we received in 2014?
No. I mean, the flooding you had in Eastpointe these past few weeks, I mean, we just picked up. I mean, it wasn't that much. The ones that got impacted are some of the Gross Points down up at Jefferson and the stuff over there, downriver in Dearborn Heights and those areas there. So for you folks, whatever, there were some flooded basements, but we just picked them up on the days we were in the area.
Okay, so it wasn't significant then.
No, I mean, it wasn't a lot. No, I mean, there was, you may have had 50, 40 or 50 homes that had additional debris out over that period of time. But, you folks in the same with Roseville, they had, I think Roseville had a total of 70. And I think you guys had less than that. So those were all just cleaned up as we did the regular 5-day collection.
Okay, and that matches our records, but we don't always get notified. So I was just confirming. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any more questions for Ms. Beretta? Anyone? Before we close this part of the section. Okay, we seeing none. Mr. Beretta, we're gonna take some of those ideas that you gave us and vice versa on how to better serve the community with their tax money. And thank you so much for being here and taking time out, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll try to clean it up some and do a better job.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Moving right along to item B, the adoption of resolution numbers 21-1929, committed fund balance assignments. Any questions
Madam
on
Mayor?
this? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I was just gonna make a motion.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I'll motion to adopt resolution number 21-1929, identifying categories to be included in the general fund's committed fund balance.
And second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
and Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Item C, approval of third-party general liability insurance.
Sure, Mayor, I'll motion we award and authorize the execution of an agreement with the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority to administer and provide excess liability insurance coverage for the city's self-insured program for the period of July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022, and authorize the city's necessary contribution to its loss fund with the total cost of services, insurance, and contributions to be $557,719.
Second.
Motion and seconded, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Next item is to receive and file city attorney's review. Good job, Mayor Pro Tem. Putting that together.
Madam Mayor, I would
Yes.
move to receive and file the city attorney's review.
A second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next is payroll and bills.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,678,503.95.
Second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember
Next- I'm
DeMonico.
sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going so fast, a little tired. Next is the hearing of the public. This is the second hearing of the public. You have two. If you didn't get to talk in the first one, you have a chance to talk in the second one. If you talked in the first one, you have another chance to talk again. So please open the second hearing of the public, Ms. Walton.
Mayor Jeannie Trice would like to speak.
Yes, good evening, Ms. Trice. Good evening, Ms. Trice. We can't hear you, Ms. Trice. And
Good
Ms. Black-
evening, council.
Okay.
I was trying to find out, I wanted to talk when the gentleman was talking about the trash pickup and dumping garbage cans. And also carrying them from your driveway where you put them out down to the neighbor's driveway. You know, that's an inconvenience for a lot of seniors. And I wanted to bring that to his attention. I mean, other issues are bigger than that, but it's important too. We have to look out for our seniors. The water treatment on our water bills is once again high, and there was a problem. And I contacted a few family members in Roseville. They get their water the same way we do, but they're not even near paying as much as we are for the amount of usage that's on this bill. So I wanted to bring that up. And my other thing is, where do you find federal or state guidelines within the city that they follow? And I'm done asking my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And you,
Mayor-
we have Ms. Gladney with her hand up. I see the hand.
Yes.
Good evening, Ms. Gladney.
Good evening, everyone, Mayor and City Council. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, so I want to bring up what Mr. Barrett said, but I want to bring something to City Council that you may want to consider. Because you guys mentioned that it's extra trash. And so would City Council consider residents having an additional can? Would that become an issue? Because from what I'm gathering is that we're having more trash and it's an overflow. And so when it's an overflow, normal for ones who don't know, they're going to throw their trash wherever they can put it at, which they don't supposed to, we know. So would that be something that would be taken in consideration, maybe allowing the residents to have more than one trash can?
We answered the question at the end, Ms. Gladney. I don't want to, did you have anything else? I'm sorry.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. That was an excellent question. I think the director is noting that down. And I think as he's noting that down, I think you can get an extra garbage if you pay the extra cost, but I'm not sure about that. But he's noting it and he'll make regards to that at the end. Or you can also email him as well for a response. Anyone else would like to speak at this time?
Mayor, I'm going through one more time. I know there was someone else that had their hand raised, and it's not anymore. So I'm not sure if there's anyone that wants to speak out now, if their hand's not raised. I just don't recall the person's name when their hand was raised. But other than that, Mayor, I don't see anything in the chat and there are still no hands raised.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone who participated in the hearing of the public, the first and the second one. And those who didn't have anything to say but participated in this meeting. We're going to, the second hearing of the public is now closed, going to mayor and council report, starting with Councilman DeMonico. Councilman?
All right, thank you, Mayor. Let's see, I guess I wasn't expecting us to get to this point so quickly. Nice, quick meeting today. I think just one thing, today I was at an election precinct from like 7 to noon, and not in Eastpointe, of course, we didn't have an election today. There were 39 voters in total for the 2 precincts. One of the precincts literally had 6 voters come in person. I just was bringing this up because I just want everyone to consider that when, as Mr. Albright mentioned earlier, there will be mayoral primaries on the ballot in November. And I guess my response would just be that ranked choice voting is a primary and general one. We won't have a low turnout, election that we would have to administer. We can just do one and it's put together. And the city of Lansing, as I mentioned last meeting, is putting that on the ballot in November. So it seems like we could do any election ranked choice, as opposed to what we've talked about before, where we thought it was only city council because of the consent decree, that we couldn't do the mayoral election because that wasn't under the consent decree. But hopefully just something for everyone to consider. And that is all, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Moore?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say that with the new variant that is out there with COVID-19, that everyone need to do whatever it takes to be safe out there, to ensure that their family safety, friends, loved ones, neighbors, and the community. So do whatever you need to do to stay safe and keep other people safe. That's all I want to say, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Curley?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The meeting went very well tonight. I'm very happy about that. And although it was a short meeting, like Cardi said, there's some very important things that the council has to think about between now and the 17th. So I would ask all of us to get the material that we need to, so that we can make a decision on the 17th. And Cardi's right, there is an election coming up this coming November. I hope we have more than 6 people at any given precinct, although it is going to be low. And we have, I think, 6 candidates running for council. And we aren't using the ranked voting system. So be careful what box you fill in, that you know what you're doing. If you need help, the people at City Hall can help you and explain to you what ranked voting is all about. So have a wonderful evening and God bless.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I don't really have too much this evening. I just wanted to make one comment off of what Councilman DeMonico said, and I hope that people are really taking advantage of the no question absentee ballot, and that is the reason why the turnout was so low, because that is obviously an option, and hopefully everyone remembers to come out in Eastpointe in November and vote and cast their votes. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm excited. The Boys and Girls Club, Boys and Girls Camp started at the Eastpointe High School. The kids were really excited Monday. I know my kids were as well. I've seen a lot of residents, a lot of people who weren't inside of, who doesn't live in Eastpointe, but other parts of Macomb County came to join. And I'm really excited. I was able to meet the Pistons coach brother, and I think they'll be here. The actual coach and the Pistons will be here Friday. And I don't know, every resident can come out. It's only by invite only, because we want to, we're still dealing with COVID and things like that. And we have the children there. But please, if you would like to be there and you email me, I will look into that. You can be there with the children as well. But it's amazing to see it. Everybody got their shirts. They get breakfast every day. They get lunch. And it's just amazing what we're doing here. I think me and the team of the Boys and Girls Club, again, I'm an alumni and so many other people, to actually foresee something you worked hard for and actually see it in your community. It took a long time, and I'm just glad to, you know, the hard work pays off. So I'm really tired, but I can't wait to see what happens more in the city of Eastpointe. And again, we have Bikes in Motion that starts this Sunday at 5 p.m. at Fresh Choice. We are going to meet there. Bring your bikes, your helmets. Director Rohit, if you have some helmets, I know the police department had a couple. We gave out some a while ago to, you know, if we have some that can fit the adults' heads and the children's heads and things like that. And we also want the director to we'll be letting you know what path. We're just doing a trial this time so that we can let the police department and the reserves know where the residents will be going, so you can have some idea of where we're at, just in case something happens. We pray it doesn't, but it's just fun, you know, doing something different in the community. I don't think we had a bike club here before in the city of Eastpointe. If not, everything starts now. So I don't want to be a mayor that complains about what we don't have. I like to bring it. So also got the Boys and Girls Club, we got the bike club. We will have the prayer at City Hall coming up. I'm excited about that. I was excited this past Saturday to see the karate, Ken's Karate just opened up. My kids will be going there, self-defense. And I've seen Councilwoman Moore there too. I feel like it's important when council comes and supports these businesses on their off day. As council and as mayor, even though they say we're part-time, quote, we are full-time, because everything happens every day. Services happen every day. Businesses open every day. People need us every day. So I don't take this job lightly. Also, the Boys and Girls Club had an event sponsored by Foot Locker also Saturday, where the Boys and Girls Club, the children, they actually create clothing and designs, and they were able to display it with Foot Locker on their platform. And so I'm just so excited about the things that is coming into fruition with my prayers and my beliefs that Eastpointe is turning around and showing the city favor. And you're going to see a lot of different things happening with the city, because the staff is different. The thoughts and the visions with the city manager all the way down to the people that work here, you know, we're going into a positive and different direction. And with the help of the residents, you have helped us do that in the partnerships that we're building. So I just want to say thank you. And also, please remember, this year is voting year. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell an enemy, I don't care who you tell, but voting is important. Get out and vote. It's important. Vote for the right person, and let's get the job done. Okay, can I get and thank you everyone for attending this meeting. Let's build it up. Tell a friend next time. Yeah, 43 participants. We had almost 50 tonight. I would love to see 100. So can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Thanks, Sarah.
Did I get support?
Support.
Okay, thank you. Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.